Thank you very much. That puts me into a bit of a difficult position as you now expect a joke and it's not going to be forthcoming immediately. Anyway, we're going to talk about algorithms and how algorithms can, or maybe they cannot, design the future medical systems. The truth is that the digital transformation is already happening. It's here. For many, many years, for decades, our hospitals have been digitizing their data. So we now have paperless hospitals in many parts of Europe and North America, which means that this has helped to automate a lot of our productions, a lot of our services even further. When your blood is taken, it goes into a tube, it travels down a route that has been automated into a machine that gets scanned and then gets analyzed, and the data automatically reaches your doctor. This is not a science fiction, this happens now. What is really useful is that the data that we collect has already been used to improve the diagnostics that we use. For example, when you have an ultrasound, when you have a CT scan, when a picture is taken of your body with different machines, the algorithms are already in use to improve that image and make the diagnosis better and more accurate. What we are experiencing now is that all this data, as it accumulates, is used to facilitate the predictive analytics. So not what is happening now, today, when you come to the hospital, but what will happen in a week, 2 weeks, 2 months from now, after you are released. So this is right now. And what about the future? The truth is that we need future-ready medical systems. A lot of our systems are not able to adapt to the speed of technological development. What do we mean? We need systems that are adaptive. They're able to adopt all this technology, install it in place, integrate it into how they work, and make it work for the benefit of everybody, so it becomes equitable. And of course, not just do it once, but make sure that they're able to do it again and again and again as technology advances, and that becomes a sustainable proposition. So how do we approach this thinking about the future? Well, the first is to talk about the demands of patients as an individual. So for example, if I go onto the ambulance to the hospital, what are my demands? How does the system know my demands ahead of time? And how do they know how to prepare for me? Now, if I go to the hospital with my friends, and then we have the problem of the flow of patients. For example, every winter we have respiratory viruses, the flu, respiratory syncytial viruses and others, which creates a peak in the flow of patients to every healthcare system, and we always struggle every year. But this is something that we should be able to address. And the final one, yes, we can have algorithms, but we have to put the empathy into the algorithmic systems for it to work. So let's take it one at a time. As a future patient, the future me, when I'm 80 and frail and I have to take the ambulance to go somewhere, it means that I need to have personalization. So the data that has been collected for me needs to make sure that when I arrive at my destination, the right treatment is available, the right sequence of tests are available, and that they're accessible to me. So not just the tests, but obviously the recommendations that come with it. The transparency means that I'm able to monitor what's happening, not just me, the doctors as well. And after I'm released, there is some sort of follow-up. Already for chronic diseases, we have wearables that are recommended so that people are monitored off-site. But this is going to be more of a, let's say, common appearance or common accepted practice, as opposed to per demand as what happens today. And of course, we need feedback loops. If I feel unwell, I need to be able to tell the system that automatically calculates and comes back with some recommendation. So the question that we have now is, are future systems able to adapt not only to the clinical data, but the social expectations that we have of these systems? When somebody has all this data for you, for anybody, is this being used fairly? And as a patient, at which point can I say, I don't want this, I don't want any of that, and I need to be left alone? So we need to have the respect for the autonomy. So let's say we have the big party, it all goes wrong, and we'll end up at the hospital. We need to be able to have the design and optimize how this will work. There are several algorithms already in place that improve the triage. When you go to the hospital, they say which is the most urgent situation, the more serious situation, so that the right individual is treated first, second, third. But this needs to improve beyond the emergency department. So when you are booking your test, you can have a platform that is like Airbnb or Booking.com or any of these short-term places that you can already book your place into the hospital, into your tests, and out the other side. And it's so important, this, because the flow of patients is not just inside. We have to have the equivalent and equally as well capacity to make sure people leave. Otherwise, we get clogged up in the middle. So are we optimizing efficiency or human experience? And right now, we really are working only on the efficiency side. We're almost entirely forgetting the human experience. Which brings us to the third part, the empathy. So if we really want future medical systems to be effective, we really need to look at human in the core. The algorithms we have, they can process emotions depending on how we speak, how we express ourselves. There are already algorithms that can say, you feel emotionally detached, you have some issues, you need to follow some treatment, or you need to see specialists. So this is happening, but the algorithm, the system does not feel this. Which means if we outsource all of our capacities into this data model, then we dehumanize the risk, or at least we run the risk of dehumanizing the experience. So what do we anticipate? We certainly anticipate hybrid models to emerge, where we use the AI as a preamble. So for example, you can talk to a chatbot about your experiences today. The chatbot will have a preliminary staging of how you feel, inform the clinician, so the clinician is absolutely prepared for you with the right information when you arrive. And it acts as a bridge for clinician empathy. Yes, it will lead to some, let's say, augmented empathy or augmented VR experience and all this, but it will be effective. But how do we make sure then that empathy becomes the ethical compass that guides the algorithmic design? So what we want to emphasize today is that, yes, we have algorithms, loads of them. There are hundreds of algorithms. We anticipate hundreds to be created with increasing speed. Can they design future-ready medical systems? The answer is no. Well, at least not yet. But it's only a matter of time and data. If you only look at the efficiency part, so yes, the algorithms will design better systems in a few years from now. The true readiness for the future is this balance between the intelligence, the data that's collected about myself, and how the system is prepared to accommodate for my needs, the inclusivity, so that it's not just about me, it's about all the patients that go to the system all the time, and the empathy. So how do we get there? And I want to finish with that. I want to finish in an optimistic way and with a very clear direction. So we have to embed empathy as a measurable design metric. It's not good enough to say, oh, the algorithm can read how you feel and provide a list. The algorithm should always be tested if it feels, if it's able to detect how the person feels and responds to the environment. And the only way to do this is by co-creating the systems, co-creating them with clinicians, patients, researchers, and engineers working together to make sure that all these different perspectives are captured. At the end, what we really want to do is to use the data not to replace, but to restore the human touch in medicine. And at that point, yes, the algorithms will be able to design future-ready medical systems. Thank you very much.